Cannabis. We spoke about it quite a bit on the programme. One of the first people to benefit was Carly Barton. Carly uses cannabis to cope with the pain she suffers following a stroke. She has fibromyalgia. It turns out the cost of the prescription she needs, having finally been allowed to get it, the cost is wiping out her savings. So, Carly's made a decision. LBC senior reporter Matthew Thompson is in Sussex right now with Carly. Matthew, good evening.
Yes, Eddie, I'm currently stood in the location where Carly has decided to start growing her own cannabis, and that of course remains very much illegal. If I maybe just bend down, you can perhaps hear the fans of the heat lamp. There are 4 little green seedlings just sprouting out of an insulated greenhouse. We're not telling you exactly where, although Carly has said she will inform the police. But even the presence of these 4 little green seedlings is enough to land her with jail time. It comes at a time when some police forces, like Durham and West Midlands, are taking a softer line on cannabis. Here in Sussex, though, it's less clear that that's the case. And Carly, you've been quite open with Sussex Police about your intention, but you feel like you've been driven to this point.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. My private prescription was unmanageable in terms of the cost. So it was around £1,400 a month, which is on average about 2 mortgages worth of money a month to cover just my medicine, which is unsustainable for any patient, I think. And an NHS doctor saw how well the medicine was working for me and wrote the first ever NHS prescription for medical cannabis in the UK, which would supersede my private prescription. However, despite the fact that she then got it past 2 trust board meetings, it was scuppered at the last minute when it went to the medical governance board within the hospital, who claim that the medicine isn't tested, so therefore they won't be willing to allow the prescription to proceed through.
So give us a sense of just how important cannabis is to you. I mean, it's obviously, it must be fairly significant if you're driven to this extent.
Absolutely. I mean, you've met me today and I've walked you from where we are to the tent, and I've walked without a walking aid. That for me would not be possible unless I'd consumed cannabis today. I was bedbound and I was on many different types of drugs, fentanyl, morphine, barbiturates, benzodiazepines. I was off my face on drugs, and none of which maintained the level of pain, the pain-free state that cannabis gives me. So it's essential, really.
I mean, life-changing.
Yeah, life-changing. So, it's the difference between having a life, being able to see my friends, have dinner with my partner, or having to have my food cut up and having to have help with showering. That is the difference for me, and that is the difference for many of the patients in the UK. I am by far not an odd case here.
And have you had a response from Sussex Police yet? I mean, are you expecting them at any moment to bash down this door and send in the SWAT team? Or
it's quite likely. I mean, Sussex Police are very heavy-handed with cannabis arrests. They have been in the past. I wrote to them and basically said, I'm going to grow the exact strains that I've been prescribed to the exact weights that I've been prescribed, and anything above and beyond that, I will personally walk into the police station and hand over for amnesty, for them to do whatever they wish with. I am not doing this I'm not going to go down the park and start selling it to kids on the skateboard park. I'm literally doing this so that I can get out of bed in the morning. And I do think there needs to be a change in the way that we handle patients growing their own supply. I think there needs to be some kind of legal exemption for patients in my situation, because the medical situation cannot move quick enough, and at the moment we're letting those patients down.
Well, there you have it, Eddie. As it stands, we just don't know whether the authorities will choose to crack down on Carly, or whether this might be the next victory in the slow march towards legal medicinal cannabis for everyone who needs it and doesn't have an enormous bank balance.
Matthew, thank you. Matthew Thompson reporting from Sussex, where you heard Carly, who has been prescribed medicinal cannabis and talked about the great difference it makes to her life and to her mobility and to her well-being, can no longer afford the prescriptions and is now growing her own. How does that make any sense?